People say don't take it personally, but that advice has a hidden cost. Because the moment something becomes personal, it stops being information and becomes a force. Most people say don't take it personally, as if distance is always wisdom, as if the secret to peace is learning to let everything slide. And sometimes it is. Not every insult deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves a response. Not every battle deserves a soldier. But there is a pattern hidden inside nearly every extraordinary life. The people who transform themselves are often the people who eventually take something deeply personal. Not an insult, not a grudge, a truth. A truth they can no longer ignore. Because transformation rarely begins with inspiration. It begins with confrontation, a rejection, a failure, a missed opportunity, a mirror you never wanted to face. And suddenly, what was once an idea becomes real, painfully real. Before that moment, change feels optional. After that moment, it feels necessary. That is the difference. Most people believe ambition is born from desire, but desire is weak. People want better lives, stronger bodies, more freedom, more confidence. But wanting has never transformed anyone. Desire creates direction. Commitment creates change. And commitment begins the moment something touches identity. When the gap between who you are and who you could become becomes impossible to tolerate. That is when things become personal. Not because your ego is wounded, because your awareness has expanded. You begin noticing things you once ignored, the promises you keep breaking to yourself, the habits quietly stealing years from your future, the excuses disguised as explanations, the opportunities buried beneath comfort, the potential leaking away one ordinary day at a time. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. That is the burden of awareness. The world celebrates comfort, but growth has never come from comfort. Growth begins when reality becomes too loud to ignore, when mediocrity stops feeling normal, when wasted potential starts feeling painful, when you look at your life and arrive at a quiet realization, this is not who I am, and more importantly, this is not who I want to become. That realization changes everything, because the greatest shifts in human behavior do not happen when someone gains new information. They happen when someone develops a new relationship with that information. Everyone knows exercise matters. Everyone knows time is limited. Everyone knows discipline creates freedom. Knowledge is rarely the problem. Distance is. Most truths remain powerless until they become personal. The mountain is never conquered on the day it is climbed. It is conquered in silence, in the invisible moment when someone stops negotiating with reality, when they stop explaining, stop rationalizing, stop waiting, and make a decision no one else can see, a decision that redraws the boundaries of identity. Because identity is the strongest force in human behavior. Motivation fades, confidence fluctuates, momentum disappears, identity remains. And once a person changes the way they see themselves, everything begins to reorganize around that new image. Actions follow, standards follow. Eventually, life follows. This is why the most powerful transformations often appear sudden from the outside. People see the result. They never see the years of accumulation underneath. The private conversations, the uncomfortable truths, the silent promises, the invisible war. Like pressure building beneath the earth before a mountain rises, like roots growing in darkness before a forest appears. Transformation begins long before anyone notices, and maybe that is the real lesson. Not everything should be taken personally, but some things absolutely should. Take your wasted years personally. Take your broken promises personally. Take the distance between your actions and your values personally. Take the life you are capable of living personally, because the moment reality becomes personal, it stops being background noise. It becomes a calling. And once you hear that call clearly enough, silence is no longer possible. What truth have you been treating as information that might need to become personal before your life changes?